It's probably one of my favorite reads so far. So we're going to create an experience around this today and really explore it together because there's some really golden nuggets I feel like everybody could walk away with.
It's one of your
And
favorite reads so far out of all the books you've ever read?
I so it's not only my favorite. Guess who's else's favorite it is?
Who?
Charlie Munger,
Wow.
Warren Buffett's best friend and expert investor. And so he actually, get this, he gifted Robert Cialdini, who's the author of this book,
Mhm,
Influence. That's the one we're going to take a look at today.
mhm.
And he actually gifted him a share, a Class A share of Berkshire Hathaway stock, which is today it's worth $720,000.
Wait. Charlie Munger gifted the author of this book a share in Berkshire Hathaway when?
$70,000 share. That's a good question. I'll have to
Oh,
drop it in the
sorry.
comments when I find out. But several years ago, and matter of fact, Charlie Munger, his biography was written a short while ago. I think it's an autobiography, and he mentions Robert Cialdini in a large part of his own autobiography. And so he was a huge fan. And if you were like me, I have an idea of Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett being really cheap because they eat McDonald's and living in the same home. And if they gave somebody a $70,000 share to something, they were really impressed by this guy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And so this is the book for anyone who's wanting to pick it up or look into it. It's called Influence by Robert Cialdini. 5 million copies sold.
Put it back up on the screen.
Yeah.
She's going to take a picture.
I'm taking a picture.
Yeah. Over 5 million copies. Can you believe that?
You don't stop to amaze me.
Yeah. She knows, she's got system fixes. That's called a system fix. And so,
screenshot.
yeah, if economics is not,
you're sharing your screen, you're cutting our faces off. You need to use a different format.
well, how do I present that? I don't know how I'm going to present that.
Take us on this, no, this one, or just like this.
You know what? What if just for today?
Oh,
What if just for today we did this?
Okay,
okay.
just do that. Fine.
That's
Just
fine.
for today. So if economics is not human behavior, I don't know what the heck is. And this guy, so he was saying that all aspects of how we behave have everything to do with economics. It all has to do with how we buy stuff. And matter of fact, there's this name guy, Parvin, honey, the guy who's the developer in Austin. He's developing in Elgin and other communities. And he looks at migration trends, where people are moving towards. And that's where he decides to develop. And so that's also, if you think about it, human behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading the book Alchemy by Rory Sutherland, and that's where I saw Charlie Munger's quote. Because a lot of people,
Oh, you did? That's where you saw it?
That's where I got it from, yeah.
Oh.
And so, oftentimes we think that the worlds are separate, right? This is my lane, this is your lane, this is work, this is personal. And it's so easy to just ignore all those small connections that we have between our personal and the outer world. And I realized after, reading books on influence and books like Alchemy by Rory Sutherland, which some of my great mentors and friends have recommended, they said, like if we are working in the field of economics and investments, right, we are directing it. And the very person who is known as a legend in mastering the economics and investments, if he's saying that if economics is not human behavior, I don't know what the heck is, that tells me that while I'm building the skill and we are working together to fine tune our things to guide people right, this is one of a very key skill that actually comes in very handy and leverages, creates leverage for us over and over again. So I would say it is our responsibility as industry leaders to tap into it and explore this together, because we were doing it behind the scenes. Now we're doing it openly. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
All that's changed. Now, I would like to ask you guys a question. First, when you hear the word influence, what does it mean for you? And why do you think it's beneficial to learn about influence? Like, what difference would it make in someone's life, especially the viewer, in
Bree,
yourself? Like,
Bree.
You always like to put me on the spot. That's
mhm.
fine. I'll let the spotlight shine. Um,
See, she does not disappoint. And point proved.
I think it's important to understand influence because everything that we do uh, we get influence from some place. So if we can understand what influences us, then we can make better decisions on our life, things that we're doing. And if we can understand how to influence others, then we can really truly know what's important to them and show them this is why and this is the how of achieving what you want to achieve through these different factors, whatever we are influencing on.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I'm sorry, I have a bad.
Rosie's motor's turning.
Wait, I really,
Well,
wait, I want someone to not watch this and only listen. And
Yeah, that's her exhaust. Like,
I just don't want you to cut the clip of this, me clearing my throat.
I mean, she's ready to get going. She's gearing up.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay.
wait, just kidding.
Oh, okay. So I would say what influence is this. I heard from this great guy in brain work and influence, Robert Nongard. He said, a man who is not convinced at his will is unconvinced still. So to me, true influence is giving people the autonomy back to giving them the autonomy to make a decision on their own and not feel like that they're being told what to do, but they're self-realizing this is the right decision for them. I think that is influence. Influence is giving people the power back to have their own autonomy, have their autonomy to navigate life the way they see is right. And we are just the guidepost, and we're just the people who are making the path clearer. They're the one walking it. They're the one picking it.
Man, that is beautiful what you just said. And both of you, I really love it. I think that's exactly right.
I just have to affirm you are basically talking about God. Okay, there you go.
Oh, I love those.
No, hold on. In what regards though? I wanted to hear like what part of it.
So, and my God,
Yeah.
I know everyone can interpret it differently, but
Yeah.
God gives us the choice to make if we want to believe in him or not. He openly gives that to us. He doesn't force anything to us, and we have the autonomy to do that. And he puts things in our lives to help guide us towards him, but ultimately it's our decision.
Well, that's really beautiful. I'm really happy that you said that because that's exactly right. Because when we're in alignment with him, then that path continues to be revealed for us, right? Yep. And somebody could make us do something, but when we choose to do it, I feel like it's longer lasting.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, and that's where this is going to come in. It's really going to help us to understand this concept when we relate it to what's called judgment heuristics, if I'm saying it correctly. And so judgment heuristics, I'll put it online, is just mental shortcuts. So we've developed all these mental shortcuts for all sorts of things. And it's also referred to as click run. So click run.
Okay.
Right. And we'll go into exactly how click run works, but people have preconceived notions, if you can just imagine it as that. So before I get into it, though, I want to talk a little bit about the examples in the book that come from just observing nature. So it's called ethology. Ethology is the study of animals. And so if you watch in our region, in our hill country region, we have a lot of deer. So you'll see how deer react, and it's kind of real sharp and sudden movements, but they're real observing, right? and so are other animals. And but basically, if we get to watch animals, we can learn a lot about who we are. And granted, we're much more advanced. We have a free prefrontal cortex. Our brain is more developed than animals. But by observing animals, we can learn a lot about nature, and we are a part of nature. And so, one of the things that we'll see is turtles will head to the brightest things. Once they hatch out of the egg, they go for the brightest thing they can see. And most of the time it's the ocean. But if there's a building nearby and a lot of glass, they might head towards that building and get lost, and their survival will be compromised, right?
Mm.
So that's kind of how click runs work. They just kind of like, one of the click runs that we might notice is expensive is better. We've all heard that before, right?
Mhm.
And so there's a few examples in the book where, and Rosie made me this beautiful slide, so I'm sharing it, where they gave this energy drink to the participants, and then they were asked to solve a puzzle. Well, by the sheer numbers, and research is really numbers based, so we can see what's real and what's not. The participants who paid more for the energy drink, the $1.89, said that the energy drink allowed them to be much more productive. They got better results on solving their puzzles versus people that paid 89 cents for the energy drink reported lower numbers. So by paying more for something, they felt like they were getting more out of the whole thing.
And it was the same thing.
And it was the same exact energy drink. And the same example with turquoise. So this woman, she wanted to mark off all of her turquoise half off. And what happened is, it wasn't, the employee got the wrong idea. It wasn't moving. The inventory wasn't moving. So she read it as times 2. So she doubled up the price on the turquoise, and it all sold out because the perception was, this is real turquoise. This is a high quality turquoise. It's expensive, so it must be good. And all of this turquoise sold out.
Oh.
So that is an example of click run. And there's probably versions of click run that we're experiencing, as far as like, let's just take a moment and talk about it. I know in investment world, or when I'm dealing with investors, they like for them to have a certain experience, but it's because it's that narrow focus, right? And once they start to break those walls down of their preconceived notions, basically come from curiosity, now they can broaden their horizon and look at things more objectively. Does that make sense? And
Trying to think how it applies to everything we're working on in our personal lives too. And it is incredible to see a very simple correlationship. Um, there's a difference between what's costly and what's expensive, right? And costly is things that just cost more to build before they're delivered as a product in the market. And expensive are the things that fail to deliver the value. So when people call something expensive, I feel like the product has failed to deliver the value it is meant to produce. But if it's costly, it's just because that's the quality of what you're gonna get, right? Like that's the quality of the product, that's the quality of the expertise you're gonna get, right? So I'm like so compelled to think about things in that way. For example, I see houses on the market sit for a long period of time and they're slashing the price down. And more they slash it down, less money they get, versus somebody coming on the market at the right price and able to prove their value. They get what they're wanting for from the get go, and we're done, right? And that's where a lot of trust comes from us in relationships, because people are able to submit to this and say, do you tell me what to do, right? You have been in this market for over 15 years. So I feel like seeing a cut down on the price a lot of times is cheapening the value of the property. And I think so many people fall for this. They're like, oh, I will just try high, or they overestimate. And I would say this is a great reminder. And I think it's a point proven. While too many price adjustments are not a good thing, because it's a click run.
And Rosie, I want to actually, on that point, I want to mention to you guys this idea that these are all levers of influence. So one of the levers of influence is activating the click run. So another might, like for instance, people like experts. He's an expert, so he must know. There's
Well,
this
after
idea,
you do the click run,
huh?
just because something is marked red on the inspection report, it means it's dangerous.
Oh, there you go.
Because what are the red lines for, right? Like when you grow up as a child, right, and you go to school and you appear for a test, then everything that's wrong is marked in red.